AM show. Wherever you are, however you're watching, thank you for making us part of your morning. It will be a beautiful day, full of opportunities, full of challenges as well. But you see, I always say, let's start our day on a positive note. Positivity is what brings about all the difference. You know, yesterday, on my way to work, I was brimming with hope for a great day. And then I get a friend who calls me to say, Kojo, can you do this business for me at this time? I said, yes, of course, why not? Just because I had high hopes that yesterday was going to be a good day, indeed, that business gave me some quite good money. So every day, it's not magic. You just being positive really makes a difference. So instead of being negative about the day, rather be positive that today will be beautiful. Be positive that today, whatever I set out to do, I'll achieve it. We wake up at dawn just to go to work and make sure that we make ends meet. So instead of destroying your day with negativity, why not fill it with positivity? From today, never be negative about your life. Be positive, be deliberate, because that will be the difference between you and those who may not be able to achieve to your level. Good morning to you and welcome to the AM show. Let me run you through how the day will go. We'll, of course, start with the AM news. Denisha Poma Ej is standing by with that one. After that, we'll bring you the AM sports and then we'll bring you the news review. Now, this morning on the AM show, we unpack major development in the country. The one leading is the OSP that has slapped 78 corruption charges on former Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta and others. It involves the SML deal and the OSP thinking that there are more questions for them to answer. Again, SML itself has petitioned Shraj over alleged abuse of power by the Office of Special Prosecutor, raising the question, what does this clash mean for Ghana's anti-corruption fight? We'll unpack that. And also the president has declared he will sign the LGBTQI plus bill if Parliament is able to pass it. Well, we'll delve into that. These and many more matters arising will be on our show today. Our guest for this morning will be Dr. Kwame Asante, political scientist, University of Ghana, Reverend retired Captain Dr. Henry Godson. He's head of the Rehoboth Network of Churches, will be on the show. Dr. Manasseh Minta is legal and environmental policy analyst. They will be here for us to go into the details. Share with us your thoughts across all our social media platforms, and let us have the day together for ourselves. AM show is sponsored by Kanoga Company Limited and Syntex. Thanks. Wherever you are, thanks for making us part of your morning. My name is Samuel Kojo Brace, and as usual, I do this with MFA Akosia Adeti. On behalf of the hardworking men and women who make up this team, I say welcome to the AM show.
Hello, good morning, and welcome aboard to AM News. My name is Denisia Pomaije, and our very first story. The National Disaster Management Organization in the Ashanti region has launched the Operation Stop Fire Disaster campaign. This is aimed at reducing the rising number of outbreaks in the region. About 30 markets have been targeted since October 2025, with intensified fire safety sensitization across Greater Kumasi. There's more in the following report.
The Operation Stop Fire Disaster Initiative is implemented jointly by NADMO, the Ghana Standards Authority, Express Gas, and the Ghana National Fire Service. Ghana currently records an average of 50 fire incidents daily, according to data from the Ministry of Interior covering the last quarter of 2024 and the first 2 months of 2025.
It has to do with fire outbreaks in the region. They are so rampant, so intense and devastating. So we checked data and reports from last year. The unfortunate details I can confirm to you is that on the average nationwide, there was about 50 fire outbreaks a day in the last quarter of 2024 and first 2 months of 2025. We are for Ashanti region. What can we do about it? The team met, we examined the reports, we studied them and picked the recommendations. You may be well aware, at NADMO we say prevention pays. So we agreed to do something about preventing the fires. That is how come we came up with the code OSFID 2025, that is Operation Stop the Fire Disasters, OSFID 2025.
Assistant Scientific Officer at the Ghana Standards Authority, Bafo Entry Nyama, said poor housekeeping, dusty environment, and the presence of ignition sources are major triggers of fire outbreaks. He urged the public to routinely monitor electrical appliances, especially those with thermostats such as freezers and cold rooms.
A lot of poor housekeeping situations in the market, a lot of cobwebs, a lot of dust, a lot of unhygienic conditions. Indirectly, they may not present a fire hazard, but scientifically and technically speaking, before you realize, a flammable gas is created. And then because there are a lot of ignition and fuel sources, a spark will come up, a flame will come up, and then there's a fire hazard or there's a burn. So let's all be cautious about the fact that when you are buying anything which has to be refrigerated at a certain critical temperature, you ask the vendor if you have a thermometer monitoring your device, be it a deep freezer or a cold room. I can tell none of you has ever done that, but it should be a part of our everyday routine.
David Opoku's report, read to you.
Now, the 2024 NPP running mate, Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh, has described the party's aspiring flag bearer, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, as the most marketable, visionary and idea-driven candidate capable of leading the NPP to a decisive victory in the 2028 general election. Speaking on PM Express with Evans Mensah, he stressed that Dr. Bawumia's innovative thinking, proven competence and also commitment to the party's future make him stand out, adding that he would always choose Dr. Bawumia as his preferred leader.
I say, of all my flag bearer friends who are contesting, Dr. Bawumia is the most marketed. He has said, if we say that 21st century is an ideas century, he has demonstrated a lot of ideas. Even his opponents have come around to accept. Before the elections, you heard somebody say, digitalization is not food. But the person comes into government and says, we have to continue digitalization. You get it? He has demonstrated knowledge. He has demonstrated wisdom. He has demonstrated brilliance. He has demonstrated through his public service excellence. If I, Matthew Opoku-Prempeh, was to choose one person, he showed that he's not corrupt. If I, Matthew Opoku-Prempeh, should choose one person, the whole Ghanaians give me their mandate and choose one person for us as president.
You choose Dr. Bawumia.
I'll choose Dr. Bawumia.
Mr. Kwabena Minta Kando has disclosed that Ghana risks facing a backlog of over 120,000 unemployed nurses by 2028 if decisive action is not taken to address the challenge. He said currently there are over 48,000 trained nurses and midwives awaiting recruitment into the public health system, with approximately 35,000 new graduates emerging each year to add to the bulk. The minister made these remarks at the 19th Biennial Delegates Conference of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association in Tamale.
The conference will discuss key issues including professional ethics, leadership development, welfare systems, and international recruitment of Ghanaian health workers. Government has pledged to clear the backlog of unemployed nurses, with the health minister assuring of his commitment to resolving the issue.
Today, over 48,000 trained nurses and midwives are awaiting recruitment into the public health system, with approximately 35,000 new graduates emerging each year. Ghana will face a backlog exceeding 120,000 unemployed nurses and midwives by 2028 if decisive action is not taken. This is not merely a labor challenge, it's a matter of national economic significance. It is in this context that government is implementing a managed migration strategy designed to provide ethical, structured, and mutually beneficial international opportunities for Ghanaian nurses and midwives, while safeguarding the strength of our domestic health. In 2025, the Mahama administration successfully concluded the recruitment process initiated by the previous government by facilitating the enrollment of 13,500 nurses and midwives onto the government payroll. I'm pleased to announce that by the end of this month, all individuals whose salary processes experience delays will receive their fares.
The president of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwife Association, Perpetua Ofori Ampofu, noted that the nurses' population density is improving, but still constrained at 129 nurses per 1,000 people.
Recent national assessments show our nurse population density is improving, yet still constrained. A reported nurse to population density of 1.99 nurses per 1,000 people with deep regional and urban to rural disparities. This figure is a reminder that while we train many excellent nurses and midwives, distribution, retention, and opportunities to practice at full scale are ongoing challenges.
The Northern Regional Minister, Ali Adolf John, assured the NDC government is committed to addressing the nurses' unemployment issue.
I want to let you know that our government is a listening government. All we need is a bit of patience from us. When we invest in nursing and midwifery, we are investing in the overall economic health of the region.
Moving on, government and flag-bearer hopefuls have been urged to prioritize grassroots development, not just grand promises about turning Ghana into a broad. At the commissioning of projects in Cheche Kasum and Papeja, sponsor James Ali reminded leaders that over 36% of rural Ghanaians still rely on unsafe water sources. And according to a recent performance audit, about 60% of Ghana's schools lack basic toilet and water facilities. He argued that the real progress must begin at home through meaningful investment in underserved communities.
For the Tsekasum AME Zion Basic School and the Papeja community in the Abrase-Bukwamankese district of the Central Region, better days are taking roots following the commissioning of a new 3-classroom block for the school and the newly constructed Papeja Water Project. The projects were made possible through the support of Infanta, a group of friends from Germany committed to improving lives in underserved communities. A member of the group, James Ali, while sharing the inspiration behind the intervention, urged government to prioritize local development rather than focusing on turning Ghana into what he described as abroad.
School has been done. Now we're coming to borehole side.
We wanted to help. We have helped the school and given the community a borehole. Communities like these are unable to support themselves, and it helps significantly to get that external support. They have boreholes but have no water in them. With this project, traveling long distances to access water will cease. It can be dangerous. We focused on these factors to help the communities.
Maybe 2 kilometers will come ahead, up to a hill to get to water and go down to hill. Do you know the danger that is going to happen on the way?
I tell government, abroad is here, not outside. Develop your own country. After, you can travel to explore other countries if you want. Ghana is where much development is needed.
What do you have in your country? What out of the other side?
Students of the Tsekasum AME Zion Basic School have been learning in dilapidated structures.
We need more to the school because from class 1 to class 6, if it is raining, we can't sit there. They usually come to the GHS place, so we need more.
The new classroom block now offers a safer environment and a hope for better academic performance. However, the students say this should not mark the end of the support to the school.
We need more teachers, and we don't have ICT lab, and we need school bags, teachers' manuals, and school desks to sit. We need the government to help that school because we don't have these things, so school is not very happy.
In Papeja, residents expressed gratitude to Infanta, noting that the new water project will significantly reduce the burden of walking long distances in search of water. We are very grateful for this new water project. We traveled long distance for water, but now that we have a source of water close to town, we are very happy. Infanta says it remains committed to transforming lives and promoting quality education, one remote community at a time. From Tizekasum and Papeja, Abigail Lisol Nkrumah reports. For joining.
And back here in Accra, the Ministry of Works and Housing has paid a working visit to 3 stalled project sites of the ministry in the Greater Accra region as part of efforts to strengthen monitoring and also ensure timely completion. The sites visited include the improvement works on the Kanishi Drain Channel, with the reconstruction of the South Kanishi Bridge near the Kanishi Accra Academy stretch, the construction of a concrete drain at Weja SEC Phase 2, and some additional works on the Kanishi Drain Channel opposite the Accra Academy Odona stretch. Among the 3, only the Weja SEC project is nearing completion. Minister for Works and Housing Kenneth Ejay expressed disappointment over what he described as the slow pace of work. Mavi Sefa-Kote has the rest of the story.
3 major projects within the Accra metropolitan area have stalled for several months. They are scheduled for completion in January 2026, July 2026, and August 2026, respectively. During his inspection tour of the project sites, the Minister for Works and Housing expressed dissatisfaction with the slow pace of work by the contractors. He shared his concerns with Joy News.
As you saw, we first went to the Accra stretch, of which the job has delayed. But they've assured us that they're going to give us their work schedule, and then the ministry is going to ensure that they comply with that. And we're not going to leave any stone unturned. We're going to ensure that the work is done for the good people of Ghana to get the benefits of it. Because we all know what happens when there are floods. It's a big issue for the government. But I've also tasked them to also give us a schedule so that we will know the pace at which they are working, and also to be able to monitor and ensure that they meet timelines, because we don't want any kind of delays, so that next year we wouldn't have flooding issue. Because these days we don't even know the rain pattern very well, so we should always be prepared for it.
The minister, however, commended the contractor on the Weja SCC project, noting the steady progress made so far.
This one was given 18 months, and he's done over 90%. So I just want to commend him for the good job that he's done. Kweyman is doing a good job. And as a ministry, if we are continuing, definitely we will consider him for that project.
Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Hydrological Authority, Sylvester Dako, assured that at least 90% of the works of the Weja SCC will be completed before the next rainy season, when issues related to it have been resolved.
It rains. When you go very downstream, you can see that the place is not flooded. The water is not getting downstream. It means there's some bottleneck in between, which I've indicated that we need to clear as a result of the continuation of this drain downstream. So we will see to that, ensure that this problem, if not completely resolved to a very large extent, about 99% or 98% should be cleared, at least by the start of the next rainy season in May or June.
The minister assures that all the projects will be completed within their designated timelines. Mama Sefa-Kote's report for Joy News.
It's now time for some business news with Samuel Kujubris.
All right, let's do business updates now by starting with what's happening on the currency market. Now, economist Dr. Edu Osusakode has urged the government to prioritize inclusive growth by focusing on the agriculture and industry sectors to transform Ghana's economic landscape. Dr. Sarkodie emphasizes that growing these sectors can drive economic transformation and create jobs. Speaking to Joy Business, Dr. Sarkodie highlighted the need for the government to strengthen agro-industrialization and link agriculture to value addition through processing industries.
When you read the IMF document or any development document, the key word that you see or phrase that you see is inclusive growth. Inclusive growth. In other words, you should grow your GDP in such a way that everybody is participating and everybody is benefiting, that nobody is left out. Because if you grow your GDP and it is only contributed by just 10% of the population, your GDP may be going higher, you may achieve a higher per capita income, but income distribution will be skewed. So we, as a country, we must pursue inclusive growth. How? We must go to the base. The base of our economy is agriculture and manufacturing. Today, our services sector is growing faster than agriculture and manufacturing. It is not bad, but the reason we are concerned is that you need certain specialized skills to be in the services sector, like being insurance, banking, like even the work you are doing in the service sector, the work I do, I'm in the service sector. You need to qualify to be a lecturer before you can be in the service sector. But you don't need any specialized skills, or you need low skills to be in agriculture. You need low skills to be in manufacturing, to be a mechanic. And so these two sectors must really grow faster than the service sector. Then we can pursue, or we can have a good appreciation of an inclusive growth. When we have an inclusive growth where inequality is reducing and income distribution is better, then we can have a very sound economy where the upper middle income status will not be far from us. And in that situation, it will come with better economic transformation. It will come with good infrastructure. It will come with good quality education and healthcare and lower poverty.
Away from that, senior finance lecturer at the University of Ghana Business School, Dr. Benjamin Amoah says the Bank of Ghana's decision to intervene in the foreign exchange market is justified, arguing that such measures help stabilize the city and ensure the economy's gains are more equitably distributed. Speaking to Joy Business, he noted that it is a good time for government to pursue industrialization.
Of course, you also want to ask, what is the role of BOG when it comes to the value of the Ghana cedis? The role of BOG is to make sure that regularly the BOG will come onto the market to help support the cedi as and when it is needed. So if the BOG or the economy itself has over time been able to build enough reserves, and we have been able to attain that optimal level of international reserves that we need to support the currency, any excess above that optimal value should be released onto the market. Look, we need to ask ourselves, are we not benefiting from the appreciation in the value of Ghana cedis? The answer is yes. Compare price levels now to price levels in the past. If the economy has created value and a channel of distributing the value across the entire population is to strengthen the Ghana cedis so that we all benefit, I see it as a fair way of distributing the value created through a stronger local currency, so that we all benefit, because at least fuel prices have declined, inflation is down, which is a fair way of distributing the wealth created than to keep the reserves and not to intervene on the market. So if BOG has more available, why not supply the market with it so that the currency can, of course, appreciate? But we should not forget that exporters are also complaining.
Right.
Within this time is a time for us to pursue industrialization and commercialization. Why? Because it is now cheaper to import heavy-duty equipment, heavy-duty plant, heavy-duty machinery to support our industrialization drive. The city will not stay this way forever.
All right.
This is the time for us to be deliberate. If we want to change the structural phase of the economy, then let's support the importation of heavy-duty plants and machinery that can be used to industrialize the country.
Let's wrap up the business update with what's happening on the commodities market. That's all in Business Update. Back to you, Denesia Poma Ajay.
Thank you, Ahanta Pili, Samuel Kujibrace. And that's it for AM News. Don't forget that if you want more news, please log on to myjoyonline.com. My name is Denesia Poma Ajay. Have a wonderful Wednesday.
Good morning. We bring you sports now on the AM show, and we start with the Black Stars. Back-to-back defeats for Toado and his boys after they suffered a 1-0 loss at the hands of South Korea in the November international window. The senior national team had earlier lost 2-0 to Japan on Friday, which was November 14, and on Tuesday, November 18, they suffered a 1-0 loss at the hands of South Korea. We'll go for the highlights of this match. These back-to-back defeats have left to many people claiming that the team is gradually building a culture of losing. Well, Otoado disagrees with this position. However, he supports the notion that the boys must improve if they want to put themselves in a better position to be ranked highest among the countries that will be competing at the FIFA World Cup.
So we had sometimes, especially in the first, problems when to press, who should press. But it's not so easy for the guys because they haven't played together for a longer time, and we had a lot of new players, so it was not easy for them to press, especially when South Korea overload one side, and we were too far away. And then it's the decision who goes to their fullback. Is it the winger, or is it our fullback, or is it number 6? And there sometimes the timing was not there, and that's why, especially in the first half, South Korea had more ball possession and created more chances. When we adapted to it in the second half, we did better then, and put a lot of also pressing into the game, and better pressing. But surely, especially the first goal, killed a little bit our pressing and also our good game in the second half.
And Korea, the two teams.
It's difficult to compare because we played, first of all, we played a different system. But I think we had more chances today than against Japan. Japan, to be honest, they were very, very good. And if you see also the last game for a nation to beat Brazil, you have to be very, very good. And I think they are at the moment on a very, very high level. Brazil usually doesn't lose, too much, and for them to beat Brazil, there you can see the quality they have. On a good day, you can see that Japan can beat everyone, and I think Ghana, but also South Korea, they're not there yet. For the World Cup, there's still some months to go for us to improve. Surely also in all aspects, in pressing and creating chances, but also not allowing chances. There's still room to improve, I think, for especially for Ghana.
The draw for the FIFA World Cup will be happening on Friday, December 5. That is when Ghana will know its opponents. And the next international window will be in March, where the senior national team will have another opportunity to prepare for the tournament before the final round of preparatory matches will happen in May, heading to the FIFA World Cup starting on June 11. Now let's come home and talk Ghana Premier League football. The head coach of Kumasi Asante Kotoko, Abdul Karim Zito, he is worried about the injury situation in his club right now. About 10 players are not available for the Porcupine Warriors in their match against Young Apostles later today. He says that these injuries are quite difficult for him because he has no idea when the players are going to be available for selection.
No, rather, they are going back to injuries. When at the moment I have about 10 players that can never play this game, and I don't know when they will come to play. Like Kote of the ACL, and then you look at in team Shaibu, Minta, Walid, Entry, Set, Saka, Ansu, with Kamara who are gone for national duty. So all these boys I mentioned, the players I mentioned, will never be on the field tomorrow. So we are even left with 18 players. Even the small boy Amisa is also having growing issues. So these are, but at the end of the day, the rest we have to manage and then use the rest to achieve the objective.
After a 1-1 draw with Adriana, how do we go into this game?
Well, the attitude should be even bigger than the one we went in to play against Adriana. We've seen our mistakes, we've corrected them, and then we also talk about the mentality. Why should we wait for somebody to beat you before you wake up to play? And that's all amounted to the draw. But at the end of the day, it's better than we losing. So for a match against Young Apostles, we don't have any excuse. Yeah. Definitely, if we mean to win the league, these are some matches, all home matches should be win, yeah, no matter how.
The Ministry of Sports and Recreation and the National Sports Authority will be organizing a nationwide Keep Fit walk in December. According to the Chief Director of the Sports Ministry, Wilhelmina Asamoah, she believes that this is an initiative the country will enjoy because it helps in building the unity within the country. And also, the Director General of the National Sports Authority, Yao Ampofo Ankara, he believes it is a vision of the President, John Dramani Mahama, and his office will adhere to the latter.
This upcoming event is more than just a race. It is a powerful movement to foster community engagement, promote healthy lifestyles, and strengthen the unity that binds us as Ghanaians. Under the visionary leadership of President John Dramani Mahama, and through the dedicated efforts of the Ministry of Sports and Recreation, we are embarking on a nationwide campaign that will inspire pride, patriotism, and camaraderie across all 16 regions of our beloved country. In collaboration with the Millennium Marathon Sports Limited, an organization renowned for its excellence and international recognition, we will execute a historic event, a simultaneous 5-kilometer and 10-kilometer run and walk that will bring together over 1 million Ghanaians. This is an ambitious endeavor, one that underscores our collective commitment to health, unity, and national pride.
And it also aligns with the vision of His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama, which is truly inspiring. The Ministry of Sports and Recreation, that supervises the NSA, National Sports Authority, is inspired by the vision of the President to ensure the success of recreation. Walking, running is one of those. And we need to advance this cause with full dedication. That is why the Ghana Independence Day Run Walk is so important. It's a landmark, but I think this would change the face of recreation and healthy lifestyle in Ghana. It's a nationwide campaign designed to ignite pride and patriotism across our great country. This event goes beyond the conventional sporting activities and is a unifying gathering that promotes healthy lifestyles. I'm sure there'll be a time when other countries from the region and beyond will be coming to Ghana because we have shown the way with this novel, but also quite a simple day-to-day routine.
Welcome back to the AM show. Now, children in Konyako and Kwesi Krom in the Aguna East District are paying the hidden price of illegal mining miles away from the town. The Ayensu River, once their lifeline, now runs brown and polluted, forcing families to risk illness just to fetch water from it. School days are disrupted and childhoods overshadowed by sickness. We have more in today's episode of Dear Mahama. #Stop Galamsey.
Mpesa oja Galamsey ni tine say yensu. En say yankola na yesiso no dachi ebebre.
12-year-old Kofi should be in class 6. Instead, he's repeating class 5. He did not fail. He fell sick for a week, missing his exams. His family says the illness came from the Ayensu River, polluted by illegal mining upstream. Kofi admits he loves bathing in the river. Today, he only uses the Ayensu to wash his clothes. For many households, the Ayensu River is the only water source for drinking, bathing, and washing. And the impact on children's education is growing. Some miss classes and others arrive late or tired. 14-year-old Kelvin Tifo from Kwesi Krom Basic School is one of them.
Pipes are not flowing because of the illegal mining going around. It makes the water unsafe. They use mercury for doing that illegal mining. That makes the water contaminated for human beings. So if you drink it, it makes us ill. I am happy to be a Ghanaian, but sometimes I feel like I don't want to be a Ghanaian because of these bad things going around in this country.
So let's talk about things we can do to conserve our water bodies. How can we conserve our water bodies? Yes.
Teachers in both communities confirm this is a daily challenge for many people.
Since we opened up school, we've not even get water, and it's about the 4th week this. We've not even getting water. And it affects even our academic work. Because the children need to go and fetch water from other sources, which may even delay our the resumption of our classes. It's very terrible. We don't know even how to control it. Because usually we used to report to school 6 a.m. By 6:30 we are observing silent reading. You need to sit. Now, since there's no water, they need to be roaming about searching for water. Classes now begin somewhere 7:38, which affect our normal academic contact hours. Of course, it is very terrible. It is very terrible.
Nana Obrebua has lived 81 years by the Ayensu. He feels the weight of disappointment. The sight of the river his generation is leaving behind haunts him.
Oh, the children, they are going to suffer. Mostly at my age, how long? Can I spend another 30 years? I can't spend more than 30 years. Even 10 years ago, only God knows. But my children and my grandchildren, they are going to suffer. I'm not happy. I'm worried.
I want the government to help us produce water for this country, and villages like ours, they have to get safe water for us to not be ill, and we should be healthy.
Kofi lost a year of progress in school. Kelvin starts most days with the burden of finding water. Across Kwenyako and Kwesichukrom, parents and teachers say polluted water is now shaping in children's futures in ways they cannot control. If nothing changes, more pupils will fall behind, more families will struggle, and more futures will be affected. Emmanuel Jivanu, Joy News, Central Region.
Welcome back to the news review segment of the AM show. And just before we get to our guest, MFA Koshiadeti standing by the smart wall to give us what the papers are reporting this morning. Hi, Koshia, good morning to you.
Hello, good morning. This week you've been rather calm.
Okay.
Very, very.
Okay.
But all set to review the news, but I'm happy to bring you all the headlines in front of the newspapers. And of course, we shall start with the Daily Graphic. Big one yesterday. Made it to the front pages of the Daily Graphic. President says, I'll assent to anti-gay bill. He's been pledging and updating the Christian Council on key national issues, and among them, or the most outstanding one for them, would be the assent to anti-gay bill, when he has been explaining that, of course, when a bill is passed in Parliament, and it is not assented to at the time of the life of that Parliament, of course, it dies. And so when Parliament then gets to reintroduce it and pass it, he's more than happy to.
The real meat is when Parliament will consider and pass it.
Right.
Yeah.
As to whether or not. Okay. But I mean, prior to that, he has been mentioning that he prefers that it will be a government-sponsored bill.
So the question is, when will government itself present it to Parliament?
Right.
For it to be laid in the Parliament too, yeah.
Okay, right. So the newspaper, widen tax nets to close revenue shortfall. PwC urges swift action, and as well, government declares 6-week gun amnesty, move to remove illicit firearms and strengthen control. Story is on page 13. And behind the Daily Graphic, UDS releases new drought-tolerant cowpea varieties. You take a read behind the Daily Graphic. Let's go to the other news.
Oh, there was a big story there for the people of Takwa.
Where was that?
Water treatment plant shut down as illegal miners cause havoc.
Forgive my vision.
That's what? Do you see the silting there?
Forgive my vision.
Eish.
All right, are you all cool now?
Oh, people of Takwa and Ghana.
The Daily Guide this morning, of course, we're on again with the SML and the GRA contract as OSP charges Oforiata and 7 others. Here, we'll be going into that as well when we review the News and Petroleum Act review approved. And again, the president has been speaking. It made its way to the Daily Guide. I'll send to LGBTQ bill. Story is on page 3 of the Daily Guide. And Parliament rectifies ITAS agreement, 10.46 million tax waiver. And it was quite an eventful one in Parliament because the minority sought to remind them that they never really liked tax waivers.
But it's interesting, yeah?
Yes. Okay, now this will excite you. Ofankor wife beater busted. Yesterday, we told you that the police had picked him up, but again, the Daily Guide is reporting that the Accra Times this morning, post-budget review will equip MPs. Speaker Bagwin has been speaking, and Osahin Afenyo-Markin, of course, the minority leader, says that we're beyond criticisms. It's a good read if you're interested. It's on page 5 of the Accra Times this morning. And NPP executives hide behind a spineless neck decision to destroy the party. That is one of the articles, some part of the articles that Professor Frimpong Boateng has been authoring. And there has been a few responses, especially people like Nana Boache, Nana B. He's been responding to a few of the things that he authored. But his story is on page 2, I think, of the Accra Times. And finally, for this paper, NPA marks 20th anniversary. Now, the Discover newspaper, Ato Forson grants Indian firm 10 million tax waivers. That one,
$10 million.
$10 million, wow. Actually, yes. And SML drugs OSP to Shraj and surrender unregistered guns. That's on the amnesty that the Interior Minister has been addressing us yesterday on the custodian this morning.
But are you done with the stories on the front page?
Which one?
There's one down there.
Okay. Ghana Bar Association is only Ghana Bar Association. A is on Kuma.
But you remember that some another
yes,
law
of course,
group,
so that it doesn't become a monopolized institution in this country, right?
But then he says that Ghana Bar Association only. Ghana Bar Association.
Let's go to court and see.
But there's okay, you can have that one.
Bamia to win NPP primaries, Central Region delegates.
Okay.
That's a promise to him. Hopefully, we see. Well, the custodian will be the last paper this morning. Diaspora NPP delegates threaten legal action over proxy voting rights. You recall that some time ago, those abroad would have somebody vote for them here in Ghana. That hasn't been happening for a while.
No, it has been happening, but in this primaries that they are going into, the election committee has decided that there won't be proxy.
Okay.
And then these executives who are living abroad say, that will be a violation of our right because even the Constitution allows that when you are a voter and you are not in the jurisdiction, you can apply to the returning officer. So they cite Regulation 25(1)B of the CA 127, which then mandates people who are eligible voters to write to the returning officers to say, we are not in the jurisdiction. So place our name on the proxy voting for someone to vote for us.
And this is, well, okay.
But the party says that now they don't want to do that in the primaries. And they are then telling the party, if you don't do that and you take away our right, we'll sue you. Because according to them, it will cost them $3,000 to fly to Ghana to vote in the presidential primaries.
Okay. Okay, well, finally for the custodian newspaper this morning, 50% of 2025 budget targets not achieved. Gideon Boako has been speaking. Myth fails to answer RTI request on 2024 finances. And finally, Asuna Adontin family announces 40-day observance for late Kofi Safo Esiama. You want to grab a copy? And that will be all for the newspapers, but I definitely will wrap with myjoyonline.com. What's the news review without myjoyonline.com? And this was a very good interview. You should listen if you missed it yesterday.
We didn't listen enough. Napo admits broken trust cost MPP government power. Okay. It says, I've been reflecting on life. Matthew Opoku Prempeh says, of his best time in 16 years. And I'll take Ghana to a level no government can reverse. That's according to President John Dramani Mahama. And again, Napo says, over the past 10 months, I've seen a widening trust gap between citizens and MPP government. Okay, so there it is. So go on to myjoyonline.com for details of those stories. We have our guest, Dr. Kwame Asante, is a political scientist with the University of Ghana. Reverend Captain Dr. Henry Godson Affle is head of the Rehoboth Network of Churches. He's joining us. Dr. Manasseh Minta is legal and environmental policy analyst. Gentlemen, especially to you, Dr. Kwame Asante, and to you, Dr. Minta, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Thanks for joining us. And then to you, Reverend, good morning.
Good morning, my brother.
As all as well.
Thank you so much. Great show as always. Keep it up.
way back in UCC, we used to meet Reverend. They were meeting on television. All right. So, Dr. Kwame Asante, I'll come to you. Maybe before we get into the papers, today your reflection should be in a minute so that we can get into the issue. So I'll come to you, Dr. Asante. You have Dr. Kwame Asante? Okay. All right. Then let me start with you, Dr. Minta. Dr. Minta, what we do is that we give a minute for our guests to give us their reflections, maybe an issue that you want to speak on before we delve into the papers, and then we'll start the papers. So let me start with you. Maybe any issue that you think that you want to speak on. A minute.
Thank you. I mean, thank you for having me. I mean, this is my first day appearing here, and it's a great honor, and I'm glad to be here. Just to be here is a great feeling. There's so many issues that I will have us to talk about if time permits, but one that predominantly stands for me is the issue of the OSP and then the 72 charges that are leveled against certain individuals. I think it's a step in the right direction. We, as a country, have been waiting for this moment. I quite remember back in June, the OSP made certain promises with certain media reportage. And so I think it's the right direction that the OSP is going. And every Ghanaian, wherever we are, who care for accountability and also the use of public purse money should allow the effort of the OSP in this regard. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Reverend.
Thank you very much. I think looking at this morning's newspaper review, for me, one of the things that struck a chord with me is the chap out of Angkor who beats the wife up to pulp. And it's quite sickening to see something like this in this day and age. And I'm sure that the law enforcement agencies having this chap in their grips will do everything possible to make sure that we have some closure on this matter. And it's very sad to know that in this day and age, somebody could do something like that. Is it a total representation of what goes on in the bedrooms that we're not aware about? I think a bit more education needs to be had on these issues because our women deserve better.
But how could, what could cause a man to treat, for nothing at all, the mother of his children this way? Yesterday I was saying that maybe pastors have a lot of work to do.
We have a lot of work to do. I mean, like I keep saying, if you look at the demographics of our nation and look at the last population census, we've got 78% plus that are Christians and another 7.8% that are Muslims. Put all of that together, it's a whopping 90-something% plus that are religious, okay, or claim to be religious. And we're all either on a Friday in a mosque or Sunday in the church. And not just even on Sundays, but weekdays we are there. So how are we able to proportionate and make sure that whatever we're studying in our churches, in our mosque, reflect on our daily lives and also translate into some form of national development? I think it's a big discussion that we need to have to make sure that we're using our religiosity to proportionately propel national development. And if we can do that, Ghana will be a better place to live.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's start with the LGBTQI plus bill. What does the president say? MFA?
Well, so the Daily Graphic this morning, Reverend, is reporting on how after the Christian Council met with the president yesterday, he's been assuring them that, well, as soon as Parliament gets done with their role in passing of this bill, he surely will maybe assent to it. But let me understand, first of all, you, for the church, personally, your position on this. And if you take a casual look at the possible challenges it may give because of our constitutional provisions.
Yeah, so once again, I did talk about the percentage of Christians in Ghana. This, for me, is a right call in the right direction, okay? Because whatever laws we enact has to reflect on who we are as a people. We cannot just take anything that is churned out to us or forced down our throat as a true reflection of who we are as a people. And when I'm sure the current government, when the current government was in a position, very great people like the Honorable St. George and a few others, and currently I'm sure the Reverend Fojo. So on both sides of the political divide, you have people that have the stomach and the willingness to push this. And I think rightly so, it has to be presented, and the right thing has to be done in terms of passing the anti-gay bill. Talking about what has to be done, I think you've already mentioned that paper has to be sent through to Parliament, and at some point, I'm sure within this tenure of our president, and thank God, I believe that the president has the willingness and the appetite to do this. And the earliest we can have closure on this, because it's been dragging for some time now, the better. It has to be done. But you know what? Most importantly, I am an advocate of education. And I say this, that if you want to make anything a reality in terms of making sure that your ideas are translated into reality, put it into the curriculum. How are we educating the children from the schools right from the age of 3? And that's what the West has done. I mean, I had the privilege of teaching in the UK for about 23 years. And I can tell you this, anytime the Western government wants to do something, they put it into the curriculum. So right from the age of 2 years, they start teaching you, they start inculcating that within you. Okay. So you grow up with it, understanding that. And I'm telling you this, for some of our families, some of our kids, you'll be surprised to know that a little child will come home and will tell you that, oh, Dad, that is how they are made, because they've been taught that in school. Okay, so if we can also make sure that some of the things that we believe in, that we trust, is the right way, because God, and I like what President Muhammad said recently. He said it very clearly. He says he believes, and that's what we believe as well, that God made male and female. And if that's what we believe, and that's the right thing, and that's what I believe as well, we put it into the curriculum, we teach the children growing up. And once you teach them, it says, train a child in the way he should go, Proverbs 22, verse 6. Yeah. And when he's old, he will not depart from it. Put it into education. If it is corruption, put it into education. Agalam say, put it into education. Let the children grow up knowing that these are vices of society, these are wrongs, and we cannot right those wrongs. We need to educate our kids.
So it's just not about the laws, but we need to make sure the curriculum is having it.
Exactly.
But mustn't the law dictate that this is wrong? Then we can look at putting in the curriculum.
Exactly, and that's where the legislation bit comes in. So that bit has to be done, okay? So our lawmakers will have to make sure, I mean, certainly the paper has to be sent through to Parliament, debate will go on, it has to be passed, President says, I will sign it. So let's see that happen. But you don't even have to wait, because, and I say this, for example, I mean, if you have headache, it might be anything. It might be something that is going on in your body. There might be a bigger underlying issue. You might not know it. But what stops you from taking paracetamol? It won't kill you. You're not. It's not like you're taking some serious medication, paracetamol. So if there is an issue that we know, we can start from somewhere by using education to try solving the problem before it even gets out of hand. So I think it is getting out of hand. We're seeing the evidence. We know things are happening, albeit under cover sometimes. People might be a bit bold to front things up. But we are saying that we're Ghana, we're Ghanaians. This is not part of our culture. It has to be passed through to Parliament to become law. The President will sign it, and he said that. But let's start educating people. It starts with our churches. It starts with our civil societies, communities, and schools. We have to start from somewhere.
Okay. Let's bring in Dr. Kwame Asante now. Doc, I mean, some people have argued that even if they are, these are things they do in private. They don't flaunt it in front of anyone. So why must Ghana be so hard to the extent that we say we want to enact laws that deal with them? But they say that does not have a place in the global geopolitics. How do you see it? Should we still, move along that line to get a law that prohibits LGBTQI plus issues?
Yeah, before I come to that, would you permit me to also air my view on an interesting topic I have in mind? But if time will not permit, I'm quick to cede that to you.
Oh, Doc, do have it.
Right. I'm looking at the armed forces recruitment and matters arising, but I'll make it snappy. I think people have said a lot. My advice to the military is that we know it's a very important institution, but we believe that the approach that they have used over the years has failed this time around. So I am happy with the measures that put in place, but I'm wondering that can that exercise be done in an enclosed area than, people exposed to the vagaries of the weather, rain or shine? That is, for me, is worrying. I think they can look around this and make sure that they get their acts together and have something meaningful. Those debts are needless, but people have said more. Tied to that is the issue that the decision by government that they are going to the homes to recruit, as it were, people from the deceased families. So for me, it's no. When you lose a child, and supposing that child is the only child you have, who else do you want to recruit? Your sister's child or who? And who will sit down to enjoy, as it were, over somebody's death and all that? In families, it can create trouble. Please, those who gave advice should shy away from that advice. It doesn't accept. Society don't accept that. Even when you want to even compensate them, people will tell you that that money is blood money. And I'm speaking as a traditionalist. In traditional homes, these things are very sensitive. The least they can do is to, continue to console them, and then they will find a way out. But that one, no. The last one is the Pussycat MP. I am very surprised about her comments about that. It is very insensitive and unfair to the families who are bereaved. If you can't support them in any way, by way of condolences, you don't add insult into what their injuries. I think the woman owe those families apology, because as an MP, you are the link. You represent the people, not only representing them, but their interest, their aspiration, and everything of them. So if you can say this, for me, it's unfortunate. I think I'll end here and move on to your topic. LGBTQ plus bill before Parliament. You have asked a very important question, which dovetails into international politics. Within the global politics, we know that there are bullies, and it's also chaotic environment. And that if you take resources from people to support your country's affairs, they can push all manner of things down your throat. And this is one of this. If you want to shy away from this, then you must do yourself good by, generating resources that can help you to run your own affairs. Otherwise, anything that comes to mind, which is of their interest but not your interest, can be pushed to you. So it is unfortunate that some of these things we come face to face with it. I am not against any law that is passed, because laws are nothing but the will of the expression of the people, what we want it to be, as a way to regulate human conduct, because every human being has certain negatives that you need a law to regulate. So if you are coming with a law, I don't have a problem. But within the global space, if you are also an entity within the global space, you must weigh a lot of things before you take that decision. So for me, it is a very difficult situation for the country. But whatever decision the country wants to take, I don't have a problem. But they must be prepared for, the pluses and the minuses.
But what this government has been able to do in terms of raising revenue domestically to handle affairs for the past 10 months, should it give us that impetus that, well, we can do this if we get committed to it?
You see, nobody is supposed to give us any money to survive on. Remember, countries are on paper soaring, all right? So you are capable of, manning your own affairs. The state capacity, discussion takes us to the realm that, look, we have what we call extractive capacity, ability of the state to generate resources within its own country and use it to run its own affairs. If God has blessed you with all the resources, if you look at this country, we have almost everywhere is littered with what, gold or diamond, or in recent time, lithium. And yet we have a cap around in hand, globetrotting, looking for resources. I think those who give us the resources, they are so good. I mean, if they were very difficult people, we would die of hunger. But I don't see. I always said that, look, if I were God, I would not even listen to the prayer from Ghana. Because, look, God has blessed us with everything. Why are we poor? Why are we poor? You want God literally to come down and then turn red resources into something meaningful. Come on, Ghana. So I believe that, look, we can do everything if we apply ourselves together. We are disciplined and all that. Look at financial indiscipline. Go to Auditor General's report, replete with that. Check parliamentary committee on these, ministry department agencies when they appear. You see excesses, financial waste, corruption, and all that. If we're able, Transparency International has told us that every year over $5 billion slip through our fingers through corruption. If you're able to plug that hole, you don't go to IMF for $3 billion. Look at the government, less than 1 year. Goru Board has been able to rake about $7 billion. So what have we been doing over the years? It's just financial recklessness, and that has brought us this far. But you see, the political actors will not just want to say this, but we as a society has also glorified them by giving them mandate all the time, instead of throwing them out when the time comes for election. But hey, if we don't take our destiny into our own hands, political actors, whether different party or not, they will act the same way because their interest is not our interest.
Let me bring you in, Dr. Manasseh Minta. You are a legal policy analyst as well. The president says, I'm ready to sign if this is done. What is your expectation of what should happen? Because the president says, I want to see that this will be a government-sponsored bill, other than, what's the current bill now? They call it a private members bill. What's your expectation of what should happen?
Well, I believe that the President of the Republic of Ghana will be on the right side of history if he follows suit with his promise to append his signature should Parliament be able to pass the bill. And here's the thing. I have been following the President very closely the past few years. I think the first time being when I was a student in Brandeis in Massachusetts. And I saw in him, the very first moment, a certain personality. He wanted to accept the Nkrumah's vision. And with the discussions that we had with him in a breakfast meeting, I could see that everything is reverberating before my eyes. This is a president who went to the United States in the UN General Assembly and accept a certain personality of the African, which to me is like invoking an Nkrumah's vision. And the president has said over and over again that Africa has come of age. Africa shouldn't be the footnotes of Eurocentric views and Eurocentric practices and customs. Africa has to carve its own self on what I call egalitarian African philosophy. Now, should this bill be passed, we're sending a message to those in the West who want to continuously bully Africa that Africa is no more going to do this, and that we are capable of managing our economy and then also taking our people from this quicksands of economic deprivation. Like the other panelists have said, Gold Board has been doing fantastically well. I mean, the economy had just had a turnover. And I believe that if the president is able to pass this bill, not only will Ghana be able to send a definite message to the West, it will also be able to start to look in within to assess some of these values and then push for economic emancipation. Now, why do I say that? Here's the thing. You see, we're looking at only anti-gay aspect of this, but I look at it further beyond that. I think that everything that the president is doing, when you look at it on a larger scope, is trying to put us on a path of independence so we can wean ourselves from the remains of foreign harvest. And I believe that if the West should come up and then want to attack us in another way, just as they do in these neo-colonialist days, we will be able to push back. And some of these policies that he has put in place, like the Akukon Kitikiti and all that, it just tells you that he's trying to give us that personality, have it independent of the West, and also to not make ourselves look like the Trojan horse of the West. And so I welcome that. Gay whatsoever is alien to Africa, I am purely Afrocentric. I believe in African egalitarian philosophy, and I also believe in indigenous decolonization. I think the time has come for us to tell the West that what you want to impose on us is alien to us. Our orientation is different, our culture, our precedents, our values, our idols, things that we uphold are different from theirs. And the fact that you do it on your street does not mean that we have to import it on ours. And so we have to do that step by step, but also send message to them that when we do that and you push back, we will be able to emancipate ourselves economically and win ourselves from your revenge. And that to me is what the president is doing. And that is why I believe that this president is setting himself for something high, and I'm not surprised that he will be able to do that. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Minta. Reverend Gostinafo.
Yeah, very good. I mean, I think interesting, very powerful discussions there. I just wanted to add to it as well. Even looking at the current international geopolitics, a few years ago, we saw what happened in the UK when Rishi Sunak, the former Prime Minister, said something. He says, a man is a man, a woman is a woman. So even within the UK, the very conservative government has pushed for that agenda. What are we seeing in the US now? We've got President Donald Trump. What's his stance? So there's a very strong...
A man is a man,
a man is a man, a woman is a woman. So there's a strong appetite within the West, within the current space of the politics that we're seeing, where the right-wing politicians are pushing for some of these basic human, morals to be established. And I think we can now use this as a very good time. There's not been a good time to pass this law than now, because you can use Donald Trump and the US, the biggest world movers and shakers, use them as a decoy to pass your laws. And I'm sure no one is going to come down hard at you. In any case, anyway, the US aid and other aids that we used to get is being cut. So it's cut already. So what do we have to lose? This is the best time. Pass the law. And I'm sure that I believe, I know our president is a listening president. I believe when he says he'll do it, I know that there will be action taken. I want to see this law pass, and I want to see the assent fully and duly delivered, and I want to see education going on. And even if there are people who are struggling with that, they could be supported. We're not going to hate them. We're not going to beat them up. We will support them, educate people for the right thing to be done.
Okay. I'm looking forward to a day when the speaker will say, this vote, we're doing it publicly like he did. And get up and tell us your position.
Whether you agree or not, that'll be a good one.
Yeah.
Let's move to another central conversation that's dominated the news for a while. And the current government says that, well, there's a forensic audit into the whole National Cathedral conversation, the monies that have gone into everything that they need to know. Dr. Sasanti, let me come to you. Reiterate your position.
I thought we'll start with the man of God and ask him whether or not he wants that thing to do. But anyway.
I had to jump the man of God because I want to hear him finally.
Okay, all right.
Let me go to the man who says he's a traditionalist. Let me go to the man who says that he tears apart the policy. So, Dr. Sasanti, reiterate again or remind us your position on the National Cathedral Festival before I follow up with questions. Were you for or you were against it?
I was against it, and I'm still against it.
Okay. Why, though?
Yeah, the cathedral is not a bad project. But if you look at the things that we need now, and the resources that we need to push into this, you remember the president said, you need about $400 million to be able to do this. That, for me, is difficult for me to take because, look, we have a lot of pressing needs. Look at schools and the trees. We have had government come and gone, only to promise us that, oh, we will wipe away this phenomenon, and we still have them. Children sitting on the bare floor, writing. Some of the schools that Christians established, this problem continue to exist there. So I believe that in terms of priority, this is not a priority, that the state must, push in a lot of resources now to deal with that. Yes, it is unfortunate that we are where we are, but I, from the word go, that yes, because no policy, public policy is a bad one. Once it becomes a public policy, it means that people have looked at it carefully and all that. But remember, public policy is what? A future problem we are solving today, and it's driven by taxpayers' money. So if the taxpayer has a number of pressing needs and you forgo that, then your agenda setting on this matter becomes what? Troubling. Because look, if you look at Joy FM, you've done stories, schools of shame. You recall that. I mean, these are things that will continue to what? Linger in our society. And if we want to support education to the hilt, and thank God, country's education was started by the missionaries and all that. And is that what we want to see now? No. I believe that Christian Council, they are pushing this agenda too far. I'm not comfortable. Yes, they have the right to express their views and all that. It's not compulsory on government to take and all that. They have that. But I believe that the schools that they set up, that we are proud of, that are producers, today, people continue to sit under trees. As soon as it threatens to rain, people leave classrooms. Teachers are being chased out by reptiles and all that. What are we doing to this? Look at even resources to be able to what? Produce water, because people have spoiled our water through what Galamsey and all that. We don't have enough resources. People were looking forward to this budget, government pumping more money for Ghana Water Company.
Oh, I hope I didn't lose Dr. Sasante. Okay, let me go to Dr. Menta. So,
are you listening?
Oh, well, I lost you shortly, but I'll just proceed to Dr. Menta and come back to you again because the network was quite bad. But Dr. Menta, if you can hear me, first of all, let me know your position. Are you for or against? And again, for example, if a genie just showed up here and said that, well, I have that $400 million, here it is, the government of Ghana, go on and then finish up that cathedral project. In fact, some monies had already been disbursed, so you may not need that $400 million. Do you think that a government should still proceed with, if the money is not coming from government or the public fund, and it was just somebody being benevolent?
It doesn't really matter to me. It is a big no. I side with the other speaker who just spoke. This is a misplaced priority. I mean, on a scale of preference, let's just say our country is faced by almost 10,001 problems. If you want to rank them, where will a national cathedral be? I don't think this is what Ghanaians want at this moment. We're facing with so many problems here and there. Economic side, schools under trees, people are endemic and poor. This whole Galamsey argument, when you go into the root, majority of it is all about socio-economic issues. And here you are honoring a personal obligation to God. I mean, God, let's just come to terms with it. Does not even live in a cathedral, does he? I don't think so. I think that is a misplaced priority. That money, even if it's a freebie from some Western whatsoever, should be used to solve the most pressing problems that we are faced with in these contemporary times. And so, the argument that proponents make that the cathedral will be a huge monument, it will generate a lot of revenue, it will become like a tourist kind of attractions and etc. Are we looking from within? Here we are not learning from history. Cote d'Ivoire has similar cathedral. What have they made out of it? If you want to build a basilica, go to Rome. I do not think that this is what Ghanaians want. We have more important issues to deal with. And luckily for us, from the very beginning to the end, this cathedral thing has been so much skirmished with so many problems. It has been besieged with so many problems. And so, why would you just nip it back? Why would you just move on? It's still a ground zero, isn't it? Let's move on. Let's leave this discussion. Nobody is more Christian than anybody. We all are Christians. A majority of Ghanaians, even if we are Christians, will agree with me that this is not the most pressing need that we have in these times. And that is why I think that the government should abandon it and not mind or listen to these coterie of people who call this a Christian, Ghana Christian, whatsoever. Thank you.
Right, thank you. Now, Kojo, I'm certain that you're excited that I left to Rev for the last, right?
Yeah.
So we've got two against.
Because they
completely think that it's not a needed project. Reverend, What's your position? And then Dr. Mintam said that God doesn't live in a cathedral. Is it true?
Yeah, the Bible says God does not dwell in the tent of men, isn't it?
Okay.
Actually, God dwells in our heart. God is everywhere. Everywhere we call upon God, God will still answer. This is my take on it. National Cathedral, let's look at the origins of it. What was the purpose? Why did the idea actually, in the first place, even got cultivated and people started pushing it? I think it's a great personal promise made by our former president that when God elects him, he will build a house for God, which is great, isn't it? Because David had that desire, and I support it. Should it have been government funded? This is where I, as a man of God, I would say categorically, I think no. It should not. We should not use state resources to sponsor the National Cathedral. Personally, I think this should be an idea encouraging the church to take initiative on this. Because trust me, I believe the Church of Pentecost alone, for example, can build a cathedral and build a massive one without the brouhaha and all the stuff that we've seen. The Catholic Church has done great things in the past. I mean, look at the investment the Catholic Church, for example, has made. The school that we all went to, St. John's Secondary School, at this other college. Look at the work of the church in France, Spain. Look at all these works that the church has done in the past. A lot of investment into schools and into education and hospitals and all of that. The church is capable of managing her own affairs. National resources, for me, must not be used. And why do I say that? If we push for that as Christians, our Muslim brethren might also want a national mosque. If we haven't got the money to do that, are you beginning to create or incite religious differentiation and discrimination? That's one thing. Our traditionalism also wants something. So let's look at it. Let the church lead on this if that has to be happening. Unfortunately, what has gone on already, we have not really credited ourselves very well. We have a huge debt sitting there, which has become a very big manhole. As people call it, I don't even want to go and then describe the, I haven't got superlatives to describe that, but I just look at a bit of scripture from this as well. In the book of Haggai chapter 1, they built at a time where the people were prospering and they had neglected the house of God. So that's why Haggai had to come in, and the prophet had to make a call that, is it time for you to live in your sealed houses when the house of God is in ruins? Because the people were prospering. The government is doing a great job. The macroeconomic indicators are looking good. Let us continue on that trajectory and in a time of prosperity. And that's what David did. Solomon, when God asked him, what do you need? He did not ask for money. Why? Because his father had lived in a time of prosperity, fought the wars, and saved a lot of money. Only that God said, you are not the one to build it because you've got blood on your hands. Your son will build it. When God asked him, what do you want? He said, I need wisdom. Wisdom in a time of prosperity to be able to manage the resources his father has left and to build a cathedral for God, to build a temple for God, and also to be able to manage 1,000 women without even one woman seeking divorce. because the man was prospering. So let's push for the prosperity agenda. Let this nation prosper. And I'm telling you what, if we're building a national cathedral, people will not complain. Thank you.
So you disagree with the Christian Council when they urge the president to complete that structure?
The president can encourage, government can have a good oversight to make sure that when we're doing anything in terms of how money is expended and all of that, things are being done properly. But trust me, the church can raise her own money. We can raise money from within our churches to build the National Cathedral. And talking about tourism as well, you see, we don't just need a national cathedral to make us a solid tourist attraction. We have a lot of natural tourist attraction in place. What we need to focus on is look at the road networks that leads to some of these tourist destinations. Look at national airlines that can bring in people for cheap. I try to sell Ghana outside to my friends in the UK and all of that. And people keep telling you, your flights are expensive. If we've got good national airlines that can bring in people, because we're competing with the Barbados and some of the other Asian countries because they've got very cheap flights there. Let us focus on those ones. Once the nation is prosperous, Trust me, people will not fight even if we decide to use state funds to sponsor National Cathedral. At this point, I don't think we have the appetite for that. If we have to do National Cathedral, the church is capable of raising money within our ranks to build it ourselves.
Must leave it to the church then, as Reverend is sharing insight here. Well, let's move on from there and deal with other matters.
Okay.
The other matter that is on the table now has to do with the OSP.
Yes.
Charging Kenneth Oforiatta
and some workers of
and
theirs.
7 other people, 78 charges, which means that each of the 8 persons might be having around, 11 charges, right?
It could be something.
Around 8, 9 there. Well, anyway, Dr. Sasante, let me start with you. Some people have said that's a huge task for the the OSP, because you need to now, if you disaggregate them, prove everyone's charge. People feel, well, this is too humongous. Do you feel the same? Or you're hopeful that the OSP can get through this and get some convictions for us?
Lawyers don't go to court without preparation. So I believe that whatever charge you put there, you should be able to prove them beyond reasonable doubt. So let them have their day in court. Let's see what happens. Lawyers have told us that, yes, you can have so many charges, but those defending their clients will also look at them and try to also work against them. So I'm looking forward to that day that the 2 parties will be in court and then show their knowledge on the matter under consideration. But before I sign off on this, I think I want to commend a Reverend for his position, and that is what we need to do. The Christendom produce the foundation of education in this country. So if for nothing at all, they are not, as they gave the schools to government, and now some of these schools are in disarray, I'm not sure the Christians want to see the way they are, the things that they started off, now where they are. So I expect them to support government to be able to lift up its game and wipe away those schools and the tree, which you, Joy, from describe in your program as well, schools of shame, and they are indeed school of shame. There are a lot of things we can do for ourselves here if we want to improve. We need money to be able to change, remove the pollutants in our water, to keep body and soul together and keep lives in this country. We need a lot in terms of road infrastructure. If you're talking about investment in the tourism industry, there are a lot. But the first thing first, we need to get the basics right.
Okay. Let me bring in Dr. Minta here. Doc, because you are a legal person, I mean, with all that has happened with the OSP's office in terms of this particular matter, do you have that conviction that 78 charges, we could possibly get something out of this for Ghana?
Well, thank you. The issue is this. Someone just took the air out of my soul. I mean, 72 charges looks quite
78.
huge. But 78 charges, sorry. Looks quite huge, but it is not uncommon in law. I mean, in American jurisprudence, for instance, there's this popular saying that among defense lawyers, that a prosecutor can indict, in this case charge, even a hamburger sandwich. What that means is that the threshold to bring a charge or an indictment, if it is by a grand jury, is not too high. It's just probable cause. So you can lump it together. But you see, prosecutors have their own tactics. What prosecutors do, which defense lawyers know, is that they can charge you, for Christ's sake, everything under the sun. Now, they use most of those charges as a bargaining chip, fulcrum around just one single charge, which they know is their trump card. But again, they'll bring it voluminous. They'll make it so huge, preponderous, as if though everything is what they're going to go for. But they do this for so many reasons. Some is for plea bargain tactics, and some they maybe drop them. So for me, it's not so much about the 78 charges. I mean, It is more about the substantive issue, which to me is about the procurement issue that the OSP alleges has been breached, the confidentiality issue, and also the monies that they said were spent with or without any work done. If they can go to court and prove this, then that's fine. But for me, the 78 charges is not something which is
I've heard people say that this could travel years. I mean,
it's not always so, because in the courtroom, what normally happens is that, you know, these 78 charges of count are not going to be, you know, argued out or pleaded one by one. You know, sometime before, this is just incipients. At this moment, we are just at the incipient stage. If you go to trial, the prosecutor may end up dropping some of them, especially when they are duplicious, you know. And I don't believe that how we look at it that is going to drag for so long is going to be the charge. It's going to be the case, because there'll be concessions made somewhere along the line. And maybe perhaps it's a bargaining chip, like I said from the very beginning. And so I don't argue along the line that it's going to be a very long day in court. No, it's not going to be. They may drop most of these charges at the end of the day when they go to court, and then they have to face the reality.
Okay. And the reality will be?
The reality will be the substantive issue. You go to court, the rules of the game are played, and then you go by evidence. So if the evidence does not support all the 78 charges, will you? No, you don't want to make yourself a mimicry, a mockery. And so you go by holding the trump card that you have. The hold will be on the most important charges that you think that when you go to court, you can win. And that is what exactly the OSP is going to do. They're not going to parade 78 charges. No, I don't think so.
Could this be another Opuni case where it travels for so many years with no conclusion?
Well, the presumption from the very beginning has been that things were at a stage where the trial will come very quickly. I remember the public commentaries that the OSP came into the public domain to make. And so for me, I felt like if you did not even charge, if you did not even indict in these matters, you don't go making so many presumptions and creating impression in the minds of people that you are all ready for court, you know. And then now with these 78 charges and how this thing is going to drag, I don't think that it's going to be so speedy as we expect. But I also think that the OSP may end up, you know, not going to court with all the 78 charges.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Back in the studio.
Yeah.
Rev, so I am quite curious. When you hear about the OSP, maybe when you hear the 78 charges or counts of charges, and you hear that it is the OSP that is leading this, what comes to mind? Oh, there we go again. Or there we have them. What's your general impression of the whole architecture of the OSP?
Thank you very much. I just want to mention that if you pick it from a layman's point of view, and that's what I want to try just to be able to get into the minds of those who are watching us who probably are struggling to even make a differentiation between the OSP, EOCO, and then the Attorney General's, Attorney General's office. So we're having a number of key offices today. That person is with EOCO, that person is OSP, and all of that. I think if you want to pick it from a layman's point of view, we as a public need a bit of clarity and education, understanding the functions of these different offices and how they are able to effectively push some of these charges through. I think that has to be very clearly established, because it's not be everyone that will be an expert at law, understanding what these offices do. But I might not be an expert in law, but I speak from a very basic knowledge of what the public thinks. That's what I'm trying to represent this morning. Interacting with people, either former government appointees or people appointees, I think there is a sense of, let me just use my words carefully, people are a bit careful. Because if you look at what is happening now, it sort of started so many years ago when we had a lot of political interventions by the military, predominantly around 1979. What happened? When at some point people were calling for let the blood flow. We know what happened in this country with the execution of the generals and all of that happens. We don't want to go back to that day. There's a public appetite to see prosecutions, to see that there is justice. People are even comparing modern day leadership, looking at what is happening in Burkina Faso with Captain Traore and all of that, and they want to see action. So there's an appetite for justice, and rightly so. And I think what is important here is that we must be able to differentiate clearly between what is a political witch hunt and what is a genuine corruption case. So that before we go into any wholesale number of charges, 78, 105, and all of that, we need to be able to clearly say, we know that there is a merit in this case, and this case will certainly go through. Because if you put 78 out there, and as we've heard already, and nobody at the end of the day ends up maybe being prosecuted, it makes a mockery of some of these offices, and it becomes almost a mere political witch hunt. And let me just borrow a few words from our former President Rawlings when he talks about greedy bastards. At some point, until we make politics financially unattractive for greedy bastards, Ghana is going nowhere. And I think that is where we need to get to, where if somebody even wants to make an attempt to steal, there should be some kind of fear that, look, I may be in power today, but in 4 years' time, I will not be there. Just as these people are going through today, the former appointees are going through today, someone will come for you one day. And I'm looking at you at the camera, you the appointee that's watching me this morning, telling you, we've got to be very mindful and make sure that we protect the public purse, because the country's losing trillions of dollars every year through corruption. And some of that money could go into hospitals, could go into the schools, go into the needed roads. And it's very sad and sickening that we cannot promote our tourism, we cannot add value to our primary goods because of corruption. And this needs to be taken very, very carefully. And I'll just drop on this. One of the, in recent times, one of our presidents that I think did a great job in terms of pushing through certain cases, at least he had the political moral high ground and will to push it, was President Kufuor. And I'm sure we're not saying that people should just be charged and dragged to court and prosecuted when they haven't done anything. But if it continues, each political party becomes a check on each other, and that in itself will bring some decorum into our national politics space.
But Rev, we say billions and trillions because of what we hear, right? That this person has committed that. But if they are not able to be convicted in court to say indeed they have stolen, are we right to say that people are still stealing when we are not able to prove in court that they have stolen monies?
I think sometimes people say you can steal, but don't be caught. But we need to come to a point where we make public examples of people that have been caught to become or to serve as a strong deterrent to people who are even thinking about it before they even execute it. And we know that these things, unfortunately, do happen. But you have to be mindful. Look at where you were before you came into power, and 3 months into, 6 months into, 4 years into, what has become of your life? And you know what? It also calls into question how we even fund our political campaigns. Because to whom much is given, much is required. If people are giving you money because they know that when you come into power, they will get the money from you, we need to start looking at all these things. We need to start looking at our campaigns. We need to start saying that, look, if people are sponsoring you, let's declare the donors. Let's have some transparency around our campaign process, because people have to struggle to get the money to campaign. They will have to struggle to get the money to pay off those loans and to satisfy where those monies came in from. And I think that's a cycle that we are putting ourselves in, where you have an MP. Every morning you wake up, you've got 50 people in front of your house. They need money for hospital. You are not a clinic. They are killing you. They are sending you to your early grave. Don't be happy about that. Because you get the money, but the money is still going. So at the end of the day, no one is losing. So no one is winning out. And then when you're sick, you have to fly out to hospital. We could have put that money into our own space, develop our hospital, develop our schools, develop our roads, and we'll be happy and proud of who we are as a Ghanaian. And I think it's a no-brainer that this whole discussion into prosecution it has to start from our mental prosecution. We have to mentally prosecute ourselves and have a bit of moral courage to say it is time for this to stop.
Well, thank you, Rev. Kojo, you asked a very important question, and I want to go to Dr. Menta on this. You asked that, well, we see year in, year out that there is a certain purported amount of money that somebody stole or that's been lost to corruption. But it doesn't really translate to they being prosecuted or recoveries. I mean, of course, just recently, the current Attorney General said that they're going to be recovering some amount of money or percentages from people like Dr. Dufour and others, right? But my question to you, Dr. Menta, I mean, if you look at our legal frameworks, is it that in the spirit of fairness and democracy, we have formulated our laws in a way that easily gets people who are engaged in corruption to escape? Is that the case?
Well, I don't think so. I think we are just playing political circles when it comes to this whole enterprise of people who stole money while they were in office. And you bear with me, if you will, that it is always the opposing political party that comes to power. And whilst it is on the mantle, on the seat, then it goes on to investigate its predecessor. And the circus continues, you know, and it's mind-boggling, you know, that a government in power cannot investigate its own, you know, and it's always that government has to leave power and another one has to come before the process of charges and etc. are even be formulated, you know. So that is the biggest problem that we have, not necessarily the laws. What we need as a nation is that consciousness, assertiveness, a type of leadership that will separate us from these circles. And I think I'm beginning to see some form of accountability in this current government. When you look at the Public Account Committee hearings and etc., and then all these unfounded, malfeasance issues and etc., and then the fortitude that the president has put forward, that if it is even his members of his own political party that are found wanting at the wrong side of the law, he will prosecute. I think it's a clarion call that we all should support. And so what I am waiting for is for the president to walk the talk, that people, even within his own government, that whether they are MMCs, DCEs, whoever they are, when they are found that they have misappropriated funds, they should face the full rigors of the law. And when he does that, Ghanaians will remember him for good. And that, to me, is a political issue and not so much of a legal argument. Thank you.
Thank you, Doc. I'll go to Dr. Asante. So on the reverse, SML as well is suing the OSP. They're both at the High Court and also at Shraj, Dr. Asante. And at Shraj, they're saying that a few of their rights have been violated. You recall in June, the OSP conducted a very special operation, entered their operational unit and seized a few of their equipment. Now they are asking that it be returned. They're asking for certain damages. And that's why they're in the High Court. Again, people will say this is the beauty and the fairness that our laws provide. But should they win any of these, whether at Shraj front or whether at the High Court, what would this really mean generally on the fight against corruption in Ghana?
You cannot fight corruption without rule of law. So if there are avenues that people who have been accused of wrongdoing, specific to what corruption, they need to take advantage of that provision and defend themselves. If the process becomes fair, right, and judgment comes out, then we live with it. If not, then the losing party can also challenge it. It's part of what the rule of law, where you are at liberty to defend your rights using the legal processes. So for me, what is going on, it's strengthening the foundation of our democracy, and that whatever happens, people want to resort to the use of the rules of the game, in other words, the law of the land, so as to defend themselves. For me, it is part and parcel of the democratic agenda. But if I can stretch it a little bit to what you said about whether our political class or this country is ready to fight corruption, I'm afraid we are not. As Dr. rightly said. Because if you look at the things that we have put in place to fight corruption, more often than not, they are just public gaming for public gaming. Right? Let's take, for instance, asset declaration law. It is a mockery of democratic processes and procedures that you have assets and you declare and you put it in an envelope, nobody opens it until one day. What kind of, rule is that? The political class developed this thing for us, and we have sat down over the years doing nothing, and we want to believe that we are fighting corruption. No. Issue of what? Regulatory capacity, where the state has made a lot of laws, how we can curb corruption or nip it in the bud. Have we got the political will to fight it? More often than not, we let them go off the wing. And then here you are, we come back to square one. Issue of, you remember Justice Appel, a committee, and their findings of what? Create, loot, and share. The political class deliberately create some of these avenues in order to milk the state dry, and they get away with this. So at the end of the day, you realize that, look, the state is not in to fight that, because look at contracts that they sign and deliberately break the contract so that the state will incur losses. And then at the end of the day, we come back to say that we want to fight corruption. For me, it's just rhetoric, nothing more, nothing less. But more importantly, I'll blame the political class. You are in this country that political class would draft agreement on something, and then the state benefits something small, and the other party are taking everything. And you ask yourself, this is a country that we are serious in fighting corruption and developing a scheme that will help us to what? Build capacity, financial capacity to run our own affairs. For me, I know that we are not ready. If we are ready, we know what to do. Why do you want people to fund what? You don't want people to fund political parties, but you are not interested in looking at what? Political party financing. In the other jurisdiction, like America, if you fund a political party as an individual, there's a certain threshold you cannot go beyond. Once you cross that line, you are going to jail. And when you fund those individuals, your name and all your particulars are published for public to know, so that when in event that you win political power and you award contract, they know that this is the connection. If you are funding a group, there's an amount that you have to you cannot go beyond. Why are those laws missing in this country? And yet we want to deceive ourselves into believing that we want to fight corruption. Please, let's stop it. We can't fight corruption. We are not ready.
So that's quite okay. I don't know what word to use for it, but Dr. Asante, thank you. Back in the studio, you were giving us some example. I see you want to respond.
Just a very quick one. And just to add to what my brothers have already said, I think we need to make sure that this thing is not just linked up with one or targeted at one political party. And one of the things that needs to be done, very importantly, is if there are cases in court, sometimes, unfortunately, some of these cases do travel for a long time. If there are cases in court that goes into another political tenure, it would be nice to see an Attorney General come in, allow those cases to continue. Not discontinue ones in your own party and open fresh cases. Let it continue, let it take its natural course. But it would be nice to have some fast-track courts that are specifically set up to make sure that we see closure to these cases, so people have some level of confidence in the judicial system, knowing that the laws are working and judgment and justice will be executed.
All right. Thank you, Rev. Doc.
All right. So, Dr. Asante, we're grateful to you for joining us today. Dr. Minta, thank you very much for joining us as well. Let's wrap up this with Reverend Dr.
Getting to know a bit more about Rev.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, like I used to say that in school, back in those days, you used to publish books for us. And Doc has charisma plus character, and also whispers that wound, breaking the cycle of gossip Let's talk about charisma plus character. Why is it so important?
Thank you very much. Charisma plus character is so important, and I would like to start with my first love organization, that is the church. When I was a young guy growing up, the kind of church that I grew into was a church where if somebody dares called you a brother in the church, it was a big thing. That means that they've seen you grow and they've seen certain traits and characters or characteristics within you that befit a Christian, okay? And then we've seen that in the book of Acts of the Apostles as well, chapter 11, verse 26, where the believers were first called Christians in Antioch because the people saw their lifestyle and gave them that name, Christians, meaning Christ-like. However, and I dare to say this, and you can put me on record for that, we are in a day and age where people become bishops before they even attempt or dream of becoming born again.
Oh, really?
So, unfortunately, we've made a mockery of even some of the offices specified in the church. So you can see people immediately accruing titles for themselves, archbishops. I'm sure very soon some people will even come out with title popes. And yet there is no trait of Christianity, Christ-like characteristics within them. And that is very difficult for us to be able to fathom that. And unfortunately, what is happening is that even some of us, with our character, we are driving people away from God. We are driving people away from church. And that is why I sat down and realized that we are a society that sort of placates and hails charisma far above character. But we need a blend of the two. Because I'm a Fanti person, okay? And I'm going to say this in Fanti, I'll translate. What's the one who fell on your back? You know, the charisma of a woman like my lovely sister here, you see, Emefa, very beautiful ladies in it, very beautiful. Thank God for that. So somebody might want to interact with Emefa because of her beauty, but thank God Emefa has character. But if they come to you and they realize that there is something not quite right, they back off. And that's what's happening in our politics space, in the church, in our schools, in the field of sports. We have hailed charisma and we have downplayed character, but both is very, very necessary. And if we can drill this into our children, into our workers, into our ministers, I think Ghana will be a better place and the world will be a better place for all of us. So we need a blend of the two, and that's the crux of this book.
So this book talks about that, how you can develop that.
How you can develop that, yes.
And a person who's grown, say this grown man, could read this book and realign his character.
They can. Someone says you can't teach an old dog new tricks, isn't it? Yeah. But I believe that no human being is beyond salvaging. And I trust that, yeah, there are things in this book that will really help. Because I look at people, let me give an example. I write about Mike Tyson in this book. How can someone like that at some point become bankrupt? And a lot of the time, unfortunately, it's us. A lot of the time, it's us, the black people. We can rise to top stardom. And at some point in time, with all the billions, with all the millions, we still become bankrupt. I mean, that cannot be possible. It shows that we're not matching charisma and character. We're not blending it together. And that's where we find ourselves in this quagmire.
It says, with fame comes the glory, but a lot of people can't handle the glory. Pride takes center stage, and with pride comes the fall. And sometimes when I hear the story of Mike Tyson, I pray that the new guy, the latest unbeaten champion, the African. No. He's also an American. Exactly.
Mayweather,
That's not also fall within the same thing, you know. Well, he has money, but will he be able to manage it so that I won't hear stories of him becoming bankrupt 10, 20 years down the line? Anyway, then, Doc, what whispers that wound, breaking the cycle of gossip? What is this also tackling?
This is a book that I recommend for everybody. Everybody. You see, I was telling somebody that gossip in itself is not a bad thing because it's human nature. Everyone gossips. Everyone talks about someone. But it's the motive, the reason why you're doing that. Are you doing it to bring people down or you're doing it to big people up? I can talk about my brother and I can say that, you know what, you're doing a good job. I can go and big you up behind your back, but I'm saying something good about you. I can also go and talk about you in a very derogatory way, trying to bring you down. And that is where gossip in itself becomes very toxic. So in this book, I'm not just saying that don't gossip, but I'm also giving people policies in here that leads to effective whistleblowing. That, all right, if I have a concern, especially something that hinges on safeguarding, how do I go about it? What we talked about earlier on, unfortunately, has been brought to light. The chap that beat the wife to pulp has been brought to light because someone decided to film it and then send it to the right, maybe the right authorities to be able to deal with that. But unfortunately, we have a picture or videos of a naked woman who is beaten. So yes, it is a safeguarding concern. You want to report it, but there is a way to do it. Because gossip, and I'm just going to read something very, very simple, why this book is so important. You see, gossip has truncated destinies, impaired visions, torn marriages apart, demolished homes, destroyed families, ravaged churches, wrecked organizations, placed a kibosh on friendships, ruined communities, and even scuppered the progress of nations. That is what gossip does. It's an ancient lifestyle. It brings people together, it bonds people, but it can also ruin marriages. And that's what we need to learn about this to see how best we can support national growth and family coherence.
Thank you very much. And I see that personality trait and how it impacts gossip is on there. So go and check out whether you are sanguine and how that impacts how you can,
The book's available in every bookstore?
Yes, the books are available in every bookstore. But at the moment, the person who is leading on this is a gentleman by the name of Philip. His number is 054 95 18 111. So 054 95 18 111. And we'll be giving some free copies, 5 free copies to the studio. Whoever you wishes to you want to bless them, please feel free to bless them.
Okay. I have mine.
People who need to align their character. Thank you so much, Rev.
Reverend Dr. Captain Henry Godson Affle.
That's a time.
Thank you very much for doing the watch, and there's more to come here on the AM show. Please do stay.
Staying with us, you're watching the AM show. So our friends from the Ghana Export Promotion Authority visited us this morning. They're feeling quite kind and they want to tell you a lot more about GEPA. I'm certain that you may have heard about them, but you don't even know what you can do with them, what you have to know about them. So they've joined us to teach you a thing or two. And we're joined by Mr. Raymond Rashid Kremer. He is Deputy CEO. Mr. Fred Asante Omani as well is Head of Agribusiness. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us in studio.
Thank you for having me.
How is GEPA doing?
Currently, we are doing well. We're doing amazing. In fact, we have a lot more products to showcase. We have a lot more interventions for the Ghanaian products. So I'll say GEPA is standing well right now.
Okay, let's just remind ourselves really what's the core mandate of GEPA?
Okay, so Ghana Export Promotions, our core mandate is to facilitate exports in the non-traditional export area. When I say non-traditional exports, that is value added to the raw materials here. So that is really our core mandate as an institution.
Okay, that's quite broad. You want to break it down. How will that translate into some sort of export trade? How will that?
Yeah. So if you look at the core mandate, we break it down into several. So there's the capacity building, where we would come in and help the institutions to be export ready, prepare them to be export ready. We have a whole export school where you come in and then we train you, not just us, we have different agencies coming. So you have the FDA coming, you have the GRA coming, you have PPRSD coming. All these people coming together with us to make
PPRSD?
That is plant protection. So this has to do with pests and diseases when it comes to, because when you start exporting these topics come up, they want to know exactly where rules of origin, where the goods are coming from, where the raw materials was harvested and all of that. So we prepare you and make you export ready so that when you get into such a market, you are meeting the standards that they have, because when their goods are coming, we have our standards. When our goods are going, they also have their standards. So in terms of the labeling, packaging, preparing yourself, all of that, we put it together in the export school, and then we get the exporters ready for such a market.
Okay. Fred, so I'm looking to start my export business.
Yep.
Where do I start from?
So thank you very much. So good morning to our viewers and listeners. So you have to register a business. You have to register your company with the Registrar General's Department, then register with the Ghana Export Promotion Authority. But once you have the intention of exporting, you have to register with the Ghana Export Promotion Authority. Then when you
It is a must.
It's a must. It's a must. So when you come to us, then we engage to see which area you want to export. Then we can tell you which institutions you have to engage as well. Okay. If you want to do fresh produce, fresh agricultural produce, the routine is different. You have to speak to PPRs, like my chief said. That's the Plant Protection Regulatory Service Directorate. They're under the Ministry of Food and Agriculture. You speak to them, and they will take you through the good agronomic practices so that whatever you are harvesting will be of quality for the export market. Because when you talk about export, you're talking about standards. I mean, basically, it's about meeting the right standards for the destination markets. So they will take you through the processes, the protocols, to be able to get that standard. If processed, if you are exporting processed item, then you have to go to FDA and GSE. They also take you through what their processes.
Okay.
The whole idea is to get you, like my chief said, export-ready products for the market.
Okay.
So basically,
Will there be any variations if I'm Ghanaian but I live abroad?
No. So if you are Ghanaian and you live abroad, like he's rightfully said, to actually come to GEPA, you have to register your business with Registrar Generals. So if you are a Ghanaian abroad and you are still able to go through the whole process of registering your business, when you come to us, we receive you as a business.
Okay.
So we as GEPA do not sit in as to who's coming. We work with the businesses that are registered here in Ghana as Ghanaian entities.
Okay.
Then we would help you.
You also talked about the standards. Going, it must meet a certain standard. Coming, it must meet a certain standard.
Yes.
Let me in on how the coming in as well works.
So with the coming in, we don't play the roles.
Okay.
You have statistical service, you still have the FDAs, you have GRA, you have customs and all for checking. So even Ghana standards, they have standards where Ghana expects your products to meet before you come in. So all that will happen through their agencies at the port, at the point of entry. If you do meet the requirements, your goods will be cleared to come in. If you don't, they'll either send them back or seize them, depending on what.
Right, you talked about if it's a different produce, of course, whatever you're exporting will require different process. But which one is the most complex one that a lot of people think about?
In fact, it depends on how prepared and ready you are, I mean, with your products. There are companies who, I mean, you can see the processed, but if you are prepared, you can go through smoothly.
Okay.
I mean, prepared in the sense that you have the right investments in place, you have the right information about what you want to do. Because the export business is all about relevant export trade-related information. Once you are privy to that, which GEPA offers every day, once you are privy to that, you are good. So it doesn't make it complex anymore because you know what you have to do and what steps to take.
Okay.
So if you have to go to FDA, we direct you to go to FDA, and we have colleagues there, I mean colleagues that we can speak to, who can facilitate the process for you in all of these agencies that we collaborate with. So it's not complex at all. I mean, complex at all.
Raymond, are there key focus areas or key sectors that GEPA focuses on?
Yes, we have 5 key areas that GEPA actually tends to play a major role in, which is agribusiness, where Fred heads. We also have the manufacturing and services, and that's where most of the processed foods, you would find them. We have the arts and crafts, where you find all these woven baskets, and then the kentes and all that will fall towards that. Then we have the cosmetic people coming up with the shares and all those things. And then quite recently, you realize that service export is becoming a thing, where people are trying to take the nurses out there because they are going anyway. So now we need to regularize it to be able to know where our professionals are trying to go. So that it's not just a matter of losing these professionals out there and not repatriating or not having anything back for.
That's nice.
Yeah.
But what's new? What's happening at the Ghana Exports Promotion Authority? What's new? What's happening over there?
So we are currently taking the whole conversation of the Ghana Trade House to the next level. And the Ghana Trade House is basically a store or a store where if you walk in, everything in the store is made in Ghana. So you walk into the shop and everything in that shop is made in Ghana. We currently have a shop in Kenya where once you walk in, you see made in Ghana sanitary ware, made in Ghana chocolate, made in Ghana, plantain, everything, plantain chips, all of that. So once you walk in, it should scream Ghana.
Okay.
Plans are far advanced to move it to the United Kingdom, United States, and South Africa. Okay. From there, we would find the other places where our destinations are and we know that we have a demand for. But that is one exciting thing that's happening in Ghana Export right now.
I like that you both came to visit me today. I'll give you the final words to share to viewers.
Okay, so at the Ghana Export Promotion Authority, we are like my chief said, we are the trade promotion organization in Ghana under the Ministry of Trade and Industry. Our mandate has got to do with developing and promoting made in Ghana products. So everything made in Ghana, we welcome you to our offices to come, let's engage. Let's see where the market potentials are. Let's see what information you need to be able to upscale your business to the global market. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank
you, Raymond. Thank you, Fred. They're both from the Ghana Export Promotion Authority. Looking to start your export business, of course, you should go to GEPA. You're watching the AM show. Please stay. There's still more. Thanks so much for staying here watching the AM show. Now let's talk about the True Life experience. And joining us this morning is Dedo Kofi. She is convener True Life Experience. Thank you so much for joining us. Good morning, Dedo.
Good morning.
Which one shall I call you?
Dedo.
Dedo is fine.
Yes.
Okay, great. Tell me about the True Life experience.
So the True Life experience is actually a conference for, I call it a catalyst, to move people to be able to dig deep and live out their purpose. And so, because especially when we grow up and life starts happening, it's easy for us to forget some of the dreams that we had, some of the things we really wanted to do, and we just take life as it comes every day. A lot of times you need something or someone to just move you to say, I can do this, let me do this, let me go back and try these things that I always wanted to do. So really, it's a catalyst to help people live out their purpose.
People have always lived their life. What has pushed you to want to organize this conference?
I've always believed in this because personally, I think that it's hearing the stories of people that moved me every step along the way, especially when I wasn't sure what to do. And so if we would share more of people's stories, then they're going to be able to also take those decisions. So where I started from is I started doing this on campuses because I thought that the younger people, when they hear the stories of people, older people who are working and doing well, it would guide them in taking decisions to say, okay, when I get out into the world, this is what I'm able to do. And these are the stories I heard from the people who came here. So when I'm faced with this situation or that situation, oh, I remember what he said, or I remember what she said. So these stories are very helpful.
Those are true facts. What's the theme this year?
The theme for this year is the power of the mind.
Okay.
And I believe that it's important to start from there because our minds are like the engine of our whole body, how we function. And what we feed our mind with or how well we know our mind will inform how we generally operate. If there are things the mind we can do that we are not aware of, we would never press the buttons that we need to be able to do those things. So we're starting from that to talk about how powerful our mind is and how it can help us either be able to achieve or not achieve certain things.
It matters who's telling their story, right? It's who's attending this conference.
It does matter. We actually have about 16, I think, different speakers, yes.
Very well
and
done
these are really people who have lived life. And I know when they come to share their stories, they're going to say they are not yet done. Some of them are over 60, but they are still pursuing, because the idea is also that we're here for a while. And so when you're not here anymore, what are you living the world with? So we want to be able to live lives that also leave a legacy for others. It's either what the seeds that you sow into people or the things you do that other people would come in and benefit from. We have Ibukun Awoshika coming from Nigeria. We have Tonya Cole also coming from Nigeria. In Ghana, we have Senyo Hosi, we have Farida Bedwe, we have Honorable Joyce Bawa, we have Honorable Kojopon Nkrumah, we have Gwen Addo. We have a tall list.
Oh, that's real power tall list
Very
that you have put together.
Yes.
But I mean, first of all, let's even know where it's happening, the date.
It's happening at the Kempinski Hotel tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday. So we have 2 days, one full day tomorrow of the conference. And then on the second day, we have a half day because we're going to come back in the evening for the Honors and Legacy Night, which is an awards night, to celebrate people who are doing something impactful in our society, whether in the lives of people or just to make our society better.
Do these people know that they're going to be awarded?
Yes, the people know, but we haven't, we're keeping it.
Okay.
Yes. That, I mean, it's not so, it's really acknowledging that, because some of the people we are awarding have been doing these things on the quiet, and they're very remarkable things that they're doing. So we want to celebrate such people. So obviously, the True Life Experience this year is the first of its kind, but then you should expect more of it. 10 years from now, we'll be here to celebrate.
I mean, who should attend and how can they be part of it?
To attend, anybody who is thinking, I want more for my life, should attend. And you can get your tickets on our website, which is www.thetruelifeworld.com, www.thetruelifeworld.com, and you can buy your tickets. The event is tomorrow. If you go online, there's probably a few tickets left. And so grab yours and join us for a life-changing experience.
The process is pretty simple, right? If we just went on the website.
If you just went on the website, yes, you would be able to get your tickets.
Okay, I'm just thinking, what was I supposed to ask you that I didn't ask you in that way? You just look into your camera and then send a special invitation to people who are watching.
Okay, I think what I would want to say is that life is being able to live your best life. And I think that if we can move ourselves, or we can decide that you would want to live and die empty, there's so much that God has placed in us. And if we can push ourselves, or if we can take the necessary steps, sometimes you have so many ideas, but you don't know what to do with it. If you hear people's stories, it would move you to be able to take the steps that you need to do yourself. So come out and then join us to have these conversations so that you can be geared up to do all the things that you've always wanted to do.
The ticket you purchase today, if you decide to want to purchase today, will take you for the 2 days?
For the 2 days, yes, for the 2 days.
What time is it again?
It's from 8 a.m. to 5:30 tomorrow. And then on Friday, it's 8:30 to 1 p.m. And then in the evening, it's from 7 p.m.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dedo. And all the best tomorrow through to the next day.
Yes.
Okay. So you're feeling stuck, you're not sure, you don't know what to do. This morning, of course, I'm recommending that you go on that website and be part of the True Life Experience. Hear the stories of real people so that you can shape yours as well. Thank you, Dedo. You're watching the AM show. I'd like to remind you that it's sponsored by Kinoga Company Limited and Syntex Tank. Ghana, let's talk water tanks. Do you know the secret to real water storage? It's simple. If your tank doesn't have the tortoise on it, then it's not the correct tank. That's right, the tortoise tank Syntex tank is the champion of water tanks. It is strong and it's durable and built to handle Ghanaian weather. Rain or shine, Syntex tank has your back. So my people, go outside, check your tank, and if it doesn't have a tortoise on it, it is time to upgrade. Join the Syntex tank family now, today, and enjoy water storage that's tough like a tortoise. You can call them 0244-335-168 to buy now or find one of their 400 agents nationwide. You can as well purchase online, www.syntexgh.com. Syntex tank, a strong, a tough. And so Compute Ghana is bringing you this good news. Well, cashback sales, Ghana, are you ready? The wait is over. The Compute Ghana Cashback Sales Festival is back, and this time is bigger, better, and way more rewarding from October to December. October is just gone. November is nearly done, but you still have some days. Shop your favorite brands: Samsung, LG, TCL, HP, Lenovo, Dell, Tecno, Infinix, and more at any Compute Ghana showroom nationwide and enjoy instant discounts, sweet cashback deals, and surprise gifts with every purchase. And that's not all. Your invoice automatically enters you into 3 massive raffles where you could win TVs, laptops, phones, cash prizes, and yes, the ultimate prize, a brand new SUV. And every Friday, the fan goes to the next level with live exhibitions, FIFA gaming battles, free health checks, and loads of excitement. It's not just shopping, it's a whole festival vibe. So what are you waiting for? Bring the family, bring your friends, and let's make every day at Compute Ghana unforgettable. Shop, save, win big. Visit Compute Ghana or shop online at www.computeghana.com or call them 030-275-2020 or send them a text 0243-143-1434 for details. This probe was definitely in partnership with the NLA under the Caritas Lottery platform. It's joy, rewards, and pure celebration all season, only at the Compute Ghana Cashback Sales Festival. And again, Kofi is always sending us breakfast, but I'd like to remind you that you can start your morning with a good breakfast at Downtown Kitchen in Asylum Down, where you prefer it local or continental. Of course, enjoy good coffee, hot tea, eggs, sandwich, or any meal of your choice before you begin your day. Take a proper lunch break at Downtown Kitchen as well inside Asylum Down. You can't miss it. The meals are wholesome. The atmosphere is calm and friendly. And of course, the customer service, I can vouch for it. Very, very professional and memorable. Quick enough to get you back to your work time. Okay, so when work gets busy, of course, they can bring the meal to you, both at home or even in your office. Enjoy fresh, delicious meals delivered right at your office, or you can call them 055-770-0003 on that one. Well, stay with us, but maybe let me also remind you that Time Herbal Mixture is suitable for the treatment of malaria fever, loss of appetite, general body pain as well. You're watching the AM show. Please stay.